Hey, this is Jen Eskridge from Quiltable.com. Today I'm going to show you how to put together the mini stocking. We have 8 mini stockings, but I'm going to show you how to put together the striped mini stocking. They all go together the exact same way. But for today's demonstration, I'm going to take the mini stocking and I'm going to make it as big as I can possibly fit on this shiny liquid lame fabric. And I'll show you the stitch out and I'll show you the construction. I've basted my fat quarter sized liquid lame fabric onto my long arm frame. I have a regular cotton batting or cotton poly batting underneath the fat quarter size. I have the design queued up to fit within the space that I have basted here. And the next thing that's ready to happen is for me to hit go. So you'll notice when the stocking pattern has been enlarged, the actual 1/4 inch seam allowance that was also included in the pattern is now at least 1/2 inch or so. That's okay, because we're really just gonna sew on this interior line here and we're gonna trim away the excess. So that's not a big deal. Pro tip, the ribbon that will have the hot stocking hanging, you know, on the mantle or door or wherever you're gonna put it, we can add that while the stitch out is still on the machine. So in the construction phase, at the very end, we're going to fold this cuff in half. So I know about halfway is where the fold will fall, and that's where our ribbon should be placed. So I'm going to align it with the center here, and then just estimate about halfway there. Pull up my thread, just like you would for any other long arm design that you're going to start stitching. And I'll hold down my threads here and give a quick zigzag over this spot where the ribbon itself is folded. And you can always go back and cover that zigzag with a button or decoration if you like. Oh man, look how shiny this is. This is just crazy. All right, so first step in the sewing room, cut out the design. We're going to cut it just right past the outermost stitching line here. I'm going to use my rotary cutter, but you can also use scissors. The main thing to think of here is don't cut off your ribbon loop. To finish up the stocking construction, we'll just fold it in half, matching the right sides together and matching, you know, with this cut edge. We're ultimately going to be sewing along this inner stitching line here. We're just going to sew right on top of that line. It's going to be our guide. So I'm going to hold my stocking together with some Wonder Clips. Pins are fine. In this case, I don't know if pins will leave holes in that liquid fabric, the liquid lame, so I'm just going to use these. All right, now using a regular stitch on your sewing machine, straight stitch, you're going to back stitch at the top. Because that will have the most wear and tear when people are reaching their hands in to get all the great stocking goodies. As you approach the end of the stocking, you'll see that it curves up towards the fold, making a little dart. So we're going to follow this line all the way up, and then when we get to the point of this, let's call it the dart, get to the point, we're going to back stitch right here. Okay, remove the stocking. Next, trim the seam allowance down. I'm going to trim it to about 1/8 of an inch past where I stitched. Or clip into this corner here to relieve some of the stress when we turn this inside out of the seam allowance. So we're just going to clip in a few clips. Okay, turn it right side out. Oh man, this is shiny. Tool, my official turning tool, is a chopstick from Takeout. Here's a stocking coming along. Okay, the last step is to finish the top edge. If you were ambitious and you wanted to sew a binding around the top and fold it down to make a little cuff, you can. Keep in mind that might mess with where you've put your loop if you've already applied it at the long arm. Per the stocking directions though, we're going to just tuck it in. So you can have the option to sew around here, making another parallel line to these two, right? So maybe one just goes right around the top. Or what I'm going to end up doing is just adding a little glue and then holding that in place with the Wonder Clips and letting it dry. Okay, here's the mini stocking, kind of supersized to fit on my long arm frame, made in that liquid lame, shiny as all get out. It's finished, the cuff has been glued, and man, it is ready to rock.